Hey, I actually like soaking up information from other people too. Said the worst thing in the world to have is a totally open mind because your brain will fall out. Way better than a totally open mind, way better is a closed mind because at least what you got inside is safe. The best mind is one where you have a gatekeeper at the door and it keeps out the garbage, lies, BS, and nonsense, and it has a filter that recognizes truth, facts, logic, and wisdom. And most people don't have a gatekeeper. That's actually one of the most important things to have in life, is a gatekeeper. And I don't ever give investing advice. I don't even pretend to be an investor. I actually can't handle risk because I don't have the funds with which to take risks. Over the past several years, I basically sold everything not glued down, and I took a skill that I have. I have a nearly magical ability on finding really, really good land deals. There's different types of real estate. There's corporate and business stuff, and there's like residential, dwelling, and there's way too many factors, and you're always having to watch the market and watch the comps. Something entirely different is raw land, and that has its own challenges. And but I've always been really, really good at that, and I have for decades. However, oddly enough, I guess I got distracted in life and taking care of my dying wife and 1,000 other things. I fell out of it, but I never should have. I'd be in a lot better place financially today, to be certain. But anyway, I sold, and it was a really good choice on my part. Sold everything not glued down. And I bought land, and I bought a farm and a cabin in the woods, and I guess I have assets. I have no money to speak of. Where I predicted silver to be going, it is going. Of course, silver is like top 5 worst investments, and it's not an investment at all. It's asset diversification. Truth of the matter is, especially today, instead of saying asset diversification, we should probably call it freedom diversification. The best experts in the world that are not trying to sell you anything, people that are filthy rich and just giving out free advice, they're all kind of saying the same thing, that cash is trash. And now the Fed doesn't print money directly, but the Fed is responsible for trying to print our way out of a depression. We're already technically in a recession. We're headed for a depression. I hope we don't hit there, but it looks like we are. And I've had a few tips and tricks from other people in the comments section, and other people read stuff in the comments section, and it's good when everybody tries to help each other. There's different types of collectivism. Most collectivism is bad. Socialism. There's good types of collectivism where everybody tries to offer their own expertise in certain things. Listen, I'm not selling you anything. I want to give out, like, I know this little trick. There's a guy that's pretty wealthy. They called me the other day. I told him about something that's a really great investment, and he had no idea about it. And he was so happy, he thought I'd like given him the directions to a free gold mine or something. And it is a really good tip, and there's very few things on this earth that we could say are surefire, 100%, no-duh things to diversify your money into. I won't mention that particular one. But it's a surefire thing. I said before many times that as things get worse, they always work in this order. When things are nice and safe and happy, it's plastic, i.e. credit cards and debit cards, and then it goes to cash, and then it goes to gold and silver in no particular order. Gold's obviously infinitely more portable. However, you'd have to buy it at least in quarter ounces. I mean, an ounce of gold is basically $1,900. And right underneath gold and silver, it turns into lead, and that's where the poo hits the fan, and it's like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, talking about a station of Armageddon. The type of lead that I speak of, however, is not available in a lot of countries. I refer to it as HVL, high velocity lead. And it Never goes down. Now, it has gone up and down during scares or whatnot, but it's only ever done this number. So a few ignorant people nitpicked on me in the past, saying, well, no, it went down. I remember like 5 years ago it went down, like 30%. It did for a short period of time. That's only because it spiked due to a fear, but it's always actually followed that number. And I'm not telling people to invest in that either. I'm not giving anybody investment advice. And I read every comment. I'd like your advice on this. The ultimate thing that's stolen from me and from you, because life is not supposed to be like this, is time. Time ultimately, unfortunately, is the ultimate currency of this existential world that we live in, where, I trade my time and you pay me money and I use that money to buy stuff. However, the whole paradigm is breaking down now. You know it, and I know it. What's happening is, they call it quiet quitting. People refusing to work anymore. It's like, why should I sacrifice my life and my time? Because time is life. Ultimately, the two are inextractable from one another. Why should I do that so you can pay me money that's going to end up going towards the IRS? I'd rather, cherish and use my own time to do what I want to do, and stay home, not work, which I don't know how people do it, honestly. Probably living in their parents' basement, or they're living collectively. But nobody wants to work anymore. And I don't blame those people. It makes society very, very difficult because nobody wants to work anymore, nothing gets delivered. Retail sales becomes impossible because nobody cares. Everything is made for garbage. People that are making it don't care. The people that are selling it don't care. Nobody wants to deliver it. Nobody cares about selling it. And I do get why that's happening. These evil cabals in the world, which are 100% undeniable, it's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, Captain Evil himself, you will eat the bugs, you will own nothing. He actually wrote the book, The Great Reset. You notice how the past 2 years the things that were called conspiratorial have turned out to be 100% true, so the difference between conspiracy and truth is about a year to 9 months. They said, and he was even interviewed in front of Congress, the guy with the beard and the nose ring, the soy boy that was the head of Twitter, says, are you censoring people? No, it's not. Yeah, they are. And of course, whatever anybody thinks about Mr. Elon Muskrat, yeah. Whatever you think about Mr. Muskrat, he has shown everybody during all the document dumps recently that not only were they censoring tons of people, which anybody with a half a brain knew they were, but also, too, the government had their fingers in the middle of that company for God knows how many years, told the company what to do, what not to do, who to kick off. It's just 100% undeniable fact. All these people complaining about Mr. Muskrat, which I could care less what anybody thinks about the guy, but he's at least revealed to you the stuff that was denied and called conspiratorial for so many years. This is 100% hardcore fact. Undeniable. Nobody can deny it. It's an absolute fact. Anyway, I'll get off of that subject. What's going on in the world, and this is not a what's going on video, although I'd like to mention a couple things that are actually happening right now. We're undergoing, the whole world is, at different stages. Certain testing grounds, kind of like Yucca Flats, proving grounds. Remember northern Nevada, if you look at it in satellite view, Google Earth, you zoom in, you see all these deep, 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 deep craters. That's where they actually drilled boreholes deep into the earth, and they were testing nukes. And the resulting destruction, literally gasification and liquefaction of the surrounding bedrock, caused the ground above it to cave in into a conical form. Where they tested hundreds and hundreds of nukes. Like the testing grounds or the proving grounds right now are Australia, New Zealand, Canada for sure, the Netherlands, New Zealand, did I mention New Zealand? UK to a lesser degree. Belgium has kind of dialed it back some. France, Spain. So we're undergoing a multi-pronged attack on the working people of the world. They're trying to shut everything down. Australia is about that far away from I don't know what form of radical chaos it will take, but A lot of people's mortgages have gone up $1,600 a month, more. There's all these people that are forced to sell off or rent out their houses. They can't afford their mortgages anymore. Absolutely radical what's going on in Australia. A lot of English people want me to point out to you that here in England, the powers that be are trialing climate lockdowns for 2024. They're not being called climate lockdowns. They're coming out and they're saying, no, 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 they're not climate lockdowns. Well, they could call it anything they want. You know, you can call a pile of poop a rose, but it still smells like a pile of poop. It's climate lockdown. Trials starting in Oxford. The city will be divided into 6 climate zones. They're saying, no, 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 it's traffic coordination zones, and it's the same thing, different name. They don't want to admit what it really is. You only be able to leave your zone in your car 100 times a year. Nobody wants this. Nobody asked for this. In other words, you're only able to leave your place. You're a prisoner in your own home. That's what's going on in Oxford starting 2024. You could go Google that if you like. Right now, the United States is paying South Africa $8 billion taxpayer dollars, or they're probably just printing, the Fed's printing it, right, to shut down, I don't know how many of their coal plants. Today's announcement joined a portfolio partnership for global infrastructure investment projects already underway in South Africa, South Africa. Biden declared, Captain Dementia, the U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, including mobilizing $8 billion public and private finance to help South Africa replace coal-fired power plants with renewable energy sources. I don't know if you know this or not, but the dirtiest type of personal vehicle, it's a lithium. It's an electric car. The mining of it is dirty. They're extremely unsafe when they catch on fire. They basically can't be put out because, unlike a regular fire, lithium feeds on the fire, feeds on the water, feeds on the water that's... This recently happened during the hurricane in southwest Florida. All these cars got flooded from storm surge, and the fire departments were overwhelmed. Like every day, X number of safe and energy green. They're not energy green at all. Most of the power is coming from fossil fuels to power. I've even seen Tesla recharging stations that are hooked to a giant diesel generator, this huge multi-hundred-gallon tank of diesel, and then a energy converter that is used to convert that diesel into electricity. And like 10 feet away, literally, is where you plug your Tesla car in. It's going from diesel to energy conversion to electricity. It feeds your electric car that everybody's calling green technology. It's run on diesel. That's subsidiary replacement of energy. It's like, my car is clean, it runs on electricity. It's like, where does the electricity come from? I don't know. Probably from the coal-fired power plant down the road, and there's nothing more wicked and horrific than lithium mines, which is run by a bunch of indentured... it's just pure evil. It's dirty, it's nasty, it's pure evil. Way more costly, way more dirty than so-called fossil fuels. And in most cases, electric cars are powered off of fossil fuels. So we have a multi-pronged attack going on the working man. This idea of taxing cow farts and that nitrogen and CO2 is dangerous. Well, plants and animals and everything needs nitrogen and CO2. Plants love CO2. Greenhouses, you pump in CO2 to make them grow better and faster. They're shutting down the Danish farmers, the most skilled farmers in the world. Also, too, New Zealand, not very far behind them. Stealing their farms. They're literally stealing their farms, claiming climate emergency. Oh my God, the Netherlands are taking the most efficient farmers. So this is a multi-pronged attack on humanity. This idea of green energy crisis, it's a total New World Order, Great Reset farce to bring humanity to its knees, and once humanity is on its knees, is literally over with. So the point of this video is not talking about what's going on today. Anybody that denies it is literally a total fool. But to think about for yourselves, because I'm not giving anybody investment advice, okay? I don't pretend to be an investor or to give advice on investing. However, I've made the best choices in my life over the past 5 years to take everything superfluous that I own and recalibrate it for correct investment in something I'm really good at, which is land, and a few other things. So instead of calling this asset diversification, we should be calling it freedom diversification. Because the best monetary experts in the world all seem to agree that cash is trash and it's getting worse and worse and worse day by day. The ability to grow your own food and have your own place, or you can, because I have unlimited, multiple lifetimes worth of free trees to harvest for heating my home and cooking my food, my cabin in the woods, and I'm all set up there, 100% set up there. The question is, what is real money? And I'd be certainly proud to hear what you have to say, as long as it's logical and it follows common sense and a train of logic. You know, money versus the tyranny that's going on right now. Don't you find it interesting that everything that was called a nutty conspiracy for the past 3+ years, every one of them has turned out to be true? Every one of them. Every darn one of them has turned out to be true. Yeah. And I'm not on board with tinfoil hat lunacy, because people will, email me all sorts of craziness, like flat earth craziness I'll get emails on, or like there's a secret earth on the other side of the sun, and that's where the government has their their military bases, and all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean that's tinfoil hat. These things, however, that were put on the same shelf with that craziness, like the Great Reset, destruction of farming, bringing everybody to their knees, a few other things that I can't mention on social media, like, you know what I'm talking about? You stick it in your arm there and you go, oh, feel so much better. Oh, somebody died suddenly. Those two words have been doing a lot of trending over the past few months. I died suddenly. I'll let you take a guess at that. You probably don't have to guess very long to understand what that was about. So, this is the way, unfortunately, the world is going. I hate to be making a video like this near the holidays, but a chance always favors the prepared mind, and everybody should be prepared for this great evil that's being impinged upon us. Just please remember that once people are on their knees, it is over with. It's really, really, really hard to get off your knees, especially if you're a fat guy. You don't want them to bring society to their knees, because once that happens, it's helter-skelter. It's what's that movie where they suspend law overnight? What is it again? It's some goofy movie where everything is a free-for-all for a week or something. There's absolutely no law and you're free to do whatever you want. This is what those people want. They do want that. And people ignorantly make the statements like, why would they want that? It's just, they're wrecking the society. This is exactly what they want. They have to work a multi-pronged attack on society for their plan to come into effect. If it were one thing, and it were quickly, everybody would resist. Okay, like slowing, turning up the temperature on the frog on the pot on the stove. Slowly it will stay there and cook. If you turn it up really quick and it's one thing, quick reaction. It would never ever work that way. It has to be a multi-pronged attack to bring everybody to their knees. And on that, I'm 100% accurate. No matter what anybody says or what anybody says in comment, on that I am 100% undeniably on the point, on the mark. And I wished I were not. So, let me know your thoughts. Please be prepared. Think about freedom diversification. You never want all your eggs in one basket. think what the definition of what real money is. Real money is anything that brings you freedom and security. You know, you could have a safe full of gold bricks, but unless you have skills, know how to farm, how to protect it, how to keep it, to know what to do with it, I mean, you're going to get whooped over your head and they're going to take your gold, for example. Well, the question is, what is real money? Anything that brings you freedom and security to yourself and your family. And that is a multi-pronged approach. No different than the multi-pronged, except the non-evil version. No different than the multi-pronged approach that these evil cabals are working on sicking upon society right now. And I wish that were not true. I really do. But if you think the world's been turned upside down for the past 2.5+ years because of, you know, an aggressive form of the flu, you've really had your head buried in the sand or some other dark place. I mean, you really have. Let me know what you think. I read every comment. Merry Christmas.